and loves to make people laugh. I was able to hear the great stories of his life and share them with my classmates, and now we can share them with you all as well.
Now Tony has had quite the life. I guess you could say he was, well, clumsy. See, when he was just in the first grade, he was playing on a seesaw with one of his schoolmates. You know, the up and down thingy on a playground. Well, everybody knows how a seesaw works. One person pushes up, and the other goes down. And they just go back and forth, up, down, up, down. Anyway, Tony, you see, was way up in the air and everything was fine. Until his friend decided to get off. And if you know anything about seesaws, you know that they can go from being up to down in a matter of seconds. Tony, unaware that his friend had departed, had his feet tucked way up under the seesaw. The seesaw and Tony came crashing down, breaking fragments in his feet. That wasn't the worst thing that would ever happen to Tony, but it sure seemed like it at the time.
Now, Tony has always been accident-prone, but some accidents can be worse than others. Just after Tony had graduated from high school, he stayed out all weekend with his friends. He was on his way to Denver, North Carolina, driving on a long stretch of road. And see, Tony was tired from his long weekend. He went out and partied with his boys. He didn't stay home and sleep. So as you can imagine, he fell asleep behind the wheel. And I mean, no road stays straight forever, right? Tony hit a curb and his car went flying off the street and clipped a telephone pole. He got hurt pretty badly and was sent to the hospital. Things were so bad that the doctor even said, "Tony, I don't expect you to live much longer." Many people prayed for him, and after 49 days in the hospital, with a lot of medical attention and a little bit of God's grace, Tony was able to come home.
Now we know Tony's clumsiness has gotten him into some interesting predicaments, and it's gotten him into some not so good predicaments with others as well. Tony's father worked at a furniture factory right here in North Carolina, and eventually Tony began working there too. Now, Tony liked to goof off with his fellow co-workers, and one day, him and a buddy of his grabbed a piece of wood and propped it up against a wall. They took a staple gun and stepped back as far as they could to see who could staple the piece of wood from the farthest away. Tony's father had approached the boys, probably curious as to see what they were doing, and Tony, trying to impress his friend and father, stepped back as far as he could, took the staple gun and BAM! Shot him. Now, because of the distance, his aim was a little off and the staple ended up flying straight into his father's foot. Now, as Tony's father writhed in pain, Tony stepped back and analyzed the situation and realized something. Work first, play second.
From these stories, Tony may seem like a clumsy person, and maybe that's a spirit you always hold. Whatever it is, though, he made me enjoy my time at Pace and appreciate what he and everybody else had to say.